Well, good morning. Welcome to Wednesday's ad-free live stream. Merry Christmas. It is right around the corner. We got about a week away from today. We'll be on Christmas. So welcome. Super pumped that you're here. If you're here for the first time, my name is Tyler. Glad that you decided to join us this morning. During these live streams, what you can expect is the following. I'm going to be going through my daily trading bias, giving you showing you real-time trades, giving you a front row seat to all the action. We're going to be going over different models and different things that are important to understand when you're reading order flow. So we're going to be doing all that here today. In addition, if you are watching this after the stream, you can use the timeline above or below, to jump to the key moments on the stream where you can see all the trades that I've taken along with the explanation of what I was thinking and why. Lastly, you can use the code DTJ to get a discount on your next eval account. Now, I believe evals are right now 50% off. I believe they're going to be doing a Christmas sale coming up, so that's why they remove the 80% off. 80% is their standard discount. So 80% off is typically what you'll get. You can use the code DTJ to get the most updated code or the updated discount. And right now it's only 50%. So 50%, yesterday it was 80%. Today it removed it. I just checked this morning. They removed it. It's now at a 50% discount. More than likely, in my opinion, which I am not associated or affiliated with them, they're going to do some type of Christmas sale. So that's why they bump it up to 50. They only do a 50% discount because they're preparing to do a bigger discount. So that's kind of the psychological discount way they do that there. So anyway, let's go ahead, open in prayer, and let's rock and roll. Father, we honor you. Thank you, Father, for coming into this world as we celebrate Christmas, as we celebrate the birth of your Son. Lord, I just pray that you would bless the work of our hands today. Father, that we would see increase, that we'd be patient. Father, that if nothing shows up, we don't do anything. And we are patient and we receive just what you have for us, Father. We honor you. I pray for everyone on this stream that they would see increase. They would have increased understanding in their trading. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay, folks, welcome. How are you guys doing this morning? Tony, good morning. Jonathan, Gunberg, Ted, glad to have you guys this morning. Today's going to be a good day. When I say good day, I mean I've already traded and I think I'm going to be done for the day. If you're on the charts, you see what I see. That was pretty nice. I got about just under 20 handles. I pulled out just under 20 handles, about 17 handles. I took out of the market. No, what was it? 400? Yeah. About 17 handles. Yeah, Ted, I mean, if you didn't, it's simply just because you are not as familiar with the market, and over time you'll become more familiar, and that's okay. Don't feel like you missed out. Don't feel like, I can tell you 100%. I've sat down in this chair right here watching other people's stream and when they said they were done for the day and I just am now watching them, I'm just like, oh, this is horrible. What am I going to do? The reality is that you should be here with me, not because of anything that I call out, but because of the education, because of learning to read order flow. So that's what we're going to be focusing on today, is reading order flow. If something shows up, I may take an eval trade. But I mean, I'm up almost 20 handles on all my accounts and I doubled my size. So I'm good compared to yesterday when I lost money yesterday. Yesterday was not a good day. I was very disappointed in myself yesterday. I spent a lot of time on the charts afterwards just reevaluating my decisions. What could I have looked at better? What could I have done differently? Which you should be doing for every single one of your trades or every loss that you take, right? So today I'm very grateful to walk out done. So actually, it looks like we may see a little bit of a reversal right here. We ran this low. Here's our opening range gap. Right now, this is where it would be sitting at. We'll see how it wants to play out here this morning. We have our midnight open already tagged. We tagged this high right here, and then we had a nice drop. Tagged that high. And then these equal highs. These equal highs, I thought maybe we would have a... Here, let me jump to the daily. I want to give you guys a daily view here. Let's take a look at this. Okay, so 77% of the time, we're only going to run the previous day low or the previous day high, but not both. 11% of the time, we will run both of them. Okay? Before this big drop, I was looking at the market. Before this big drop that we had, I was partial to seeing a double break day. I thought, because we were sitting up here, we were sitting right around here, and I thought, you know what? And I honestly, I still think this could be that. I think today potentially could be a double break day depending on what we do and depending on FOMC, because we have FOMC at 2 o'clock today. So we got a run of sell side liquidity here. But the other thing that we're running into is this. We're running into a daily fair value gap. And fair value gaps give energy to price to potentially move higher. For example, look at what fair value gap here do you see that propelled price higher? It's pretty obvious. If you don't see it, it's okay. It's right here. Look at how price came into this level and then propelled price higher. This is the number one characteristic we are looking for from higher time frame fair value gaps. Is price comes into that level, finds support, and it pushes higher. This is no different. Price comes into this level, finds support, and my expectation is we will see new highs. My expectation, it may not be today, while today could be a great day to do it considering we have FOMC here at 2 p.m. But my expectation is we're going to see more all-time highs. I will become bearish in the market when we close below this daily fair value gap. If we stay above this daily fair value gap on a daily closed body, meaning above this fair value gap, I will stay bullish. This is now our fulcrum, we could call it. Anything above this swings higher. We close below it, we're swinging lower. Okay? That is what this fair value gap is telling us, and that is how we need to be looking at the market. So, do we go short? Sure, we can go short. I just made a bunch of money short. But when we're looking at higher time frame trends, this is bullish. And it will stay bullish until we see a daily candle close below this fair value gap like that. Okay, we want to see it close like that, right? That's what it needs to look like, something like this. As soon as it closes below, we go bearish. We have a bearish sentiment on the market until we find some type of support, until we grab liquidity, we see it reverse, who knows? But that's what this fair value gap is telling us on a higher time frame. It's very, very important that you understand that. With that being said, right at the opening price at 6 p.m. of yesterday for today's price action, we aggressively ran into this daily fair value gap. Immediately we ran into the daily and we tagged the 4-hour fair value gap. Now, like I said, I'm bullish until we close on the daily. If we see continued price action running lower, that could be the what is the word harbinger. That could be the harbinger telling us that prices are going lower before the day is actually over. That's some of we want to watch the price action. The last thing we want to look at as far as lower prices go is we could still run this sell side liquidity, which is the current day's low. We still could run sell side, and then towards the end of the day we could retrace back up here, and that's possible. The body of these candles could close inside this daily fair value gap and be a bearish day and still close inside of this daily fair value gap. Why do I say that? Because right now everything looks bearish as we go lower in time frames. We look at the hourly. The hourly wicked through this wick high and aggressively displaced lower, closing below this fair value gap right here. Okay? Closed below this fair value gap right here, which turns this into an inversion fair value gap. So now we want to see if this price continues to stay heavy and the displaces potentially lower. So that's kind of what we're looking for at the moment. If we go to the 15-minute time frame, our last 15-minute fair value gap is sitting right here. We've tagged it. Now we'll see if it wants to potentially move up into this fair value gap right here, which these equal lows now are also a breaker. High, low, higher high, sweep of liquidity, run lower, displacement. We want to see. The only way that I'm probably going to go short is if we can reach back up into this breaker. Not the only way, but this would be the ideal way. This would be my plan. My plan is, as long as we stay above this 15-minute fair value gap, I want to see price retrace up to and around this breaker, and then look for my model to continue lower. That is what I would like to see. Where do I want to see continued lower to? I wouldn't mind seeing if we can reach down to the sell side liquidity here. We made that here this morning or last night. I don't know how much lower we could go. We could even tag the previous week high. The previous week high could be tagged and rebalance that area. That's a possibility too. So let's see what the market wants to do here. All right, the opening range gap has been filled. And we're continuing to push higher. Like I said, I want to see what price wants to do around this breaker. All right, so we swept that liquidity and it retraced all of its gains there, right there. Man, it didn't get all the way up there. That would have been nice if it reached all the way up there, folks. Good morning. Who else are jumping on here? Gumber had a very good news this morning. One payout submitted last night, just got approved, 800. Way to go, my friend. Congratulations. I did actually request a payout last night as well, and I got a payout also. Let's see. Looks like the HRLY hit. The hourly hit rejection block and is reversing. Good morning, Wilhelm. Took a trade off the breaker. Which breaker did you take a trade off of? Ted. That is a long wick. Absolutely. Yep. Good morning, Shane. How you doing? Glad you're back. Glad to have you. I have my eval account all set and ready to go. We may get a little bit of a sell-off here. So this is our first candle, and it's a large opening range, large first fair value gap. We'll see what price wants to do here. I think I'm going to take an eval on this momentum lower. Targeting, yeah, that's crazy. I'm going to go ahead and sell that before it retraces. Just about 20 handles there on that just momentum trade. We can see we had displacement. We had a fair value gap. We rejected the fair value gap. New candle started displacing lower, decided to get in on the momentum, and it paid. Watching that level right there. You could easily just continue to ride this sucker. All right, so there's the 4 hour. Here's our low for the day. Looks like that's what we're reaching for, at least right now. I mean, I am, to be honest, I'm really shocked on how aggressive price action is prior to FOMC. We got huge news. Huge news, which historically at 2 o'clock, the market moves absolutely insanely. And this is, I'm just surprised. You keep bringing that up, Ted. At some point, I'm gonna have to look at that first week fair, the first fair value gap of the week. Relatively equal highs here. Body stopped exactly at the midpoint. So this is the current day low right here. It's typical for price to come really close to it and reject and basically act like it's going to go, but then it doesn't. So it could still run and roll over, or it could just leave this, which it wouldn't surprise me. Honestly, it makes more sense to leave it. It makes more sense to not run this low and leave it, if I'm honest with you. But I'm not the one. I'm not the market maker, so what do I know? Kane. I use the Apex copier. I don't like using Trade of 8. I really don't. When I was using it, I had to use it last week. I was having issues mentally just because it was different for me. And it affected my trading. It really did. So I use Apex's trade copier. I'm not gonna say it's easy to install because it's not. It's a little confusing, but it's possible. And once you get it set up, it works like a charm. But you just need to Google Apex trade copier, and you'll see the link. It is a separate company. It's by Apex, but it's a separate company. They kept the company separate. It has a bunch of other stuff in there, and you just got to grab what you need. You have to install a toolkit. Once the toolkit's installed, then you install the actual copier, the Ninja copier, and then everything's working fine. All right, so we tapped this fair value gap. Bodies stayed far away from it. Tells me that we could see price run here, but I'm not going to participate in it because I've seen candles do this at this point. I would rather this level not be ran for the day. Actually, it wouldn't be bad to take a trade like this. It would look nice up to this high right here. I'm on an eval account today. I'm going to be conservative, but if I see a trade that just makes sense, I'm not afraid to take it because, like I said, it's an evaluation account. This would be one of those trades. And if it closes below this fair value gap, I'll get out. But we're looking for a push up and through this high. And ideally, I would like it to run through the fair value gap, that first fair value gap as well. But we'll move our stop to break even as soon as we hit that high. Honestly, we're so close to 10 handles that I'm going to move it anyway. I'm not going to let 10 handles go against me. So there it is. Stopped out at break even. Now, I'm not going to re-enter this trade because I did get stopped out. I'm okay. If it wants to go without me, it would be a nice push right here if it wanted to go higher. I was to see the bearish breaker take us to sell side. Yeah, I would like to see that as well. But it needs to go higher for us to get to that. We have a little ways to go. That breaker is right here is what I want to see. Yeah, it came close to tapping it, but it didn't. So still heavy, it looks like. That means if we run this level and close below this candle, you could potentially use this as a draw on liquidity. But I'm not doing that. We stay conservative here. Nice rejection and support of that level here. Oh, I really want it. I'm not gonna do it. I gotta exercise self-control. Self-control. I have a Mac and don't have Ninja on it yet, so I should probably start there. I think so. Ninja, the trader is different than the copier. So I don't know if you're gonna actually need Ninja on your Mac. I think it would be, because I do everything web based except for TradingView. TradingView is downloaded on my computer, and then everything else is web based, and then your trade copier is downloaded on your computer. So I don't actually have a Ninja Trader. Yeah, this is aggressive. This is what I was wanting to see, and I expect it to continue that way. Here's a breaker, tap of the breaker right there. I kind of want to take it. I'm going to wait. All right, I took this breaker. Body's right here. We'll do a 10 handle stop loss. Breaker actually is right here, I should say. I was looking at this wick high that I thought it might want to grab into. But this is the tap of the breaker. If we close below this order block, I'll close the trade. Closed on the breaker there. We did run into this level here. I'm going off of the idea that we still want to run up higher and retrace this big run lower that we had, and we're going to leave sell side here and we're not going to grab it. That's what I'm going off of. We have this order block here. If we can close above this order block, that's going to be a very good sign. And if we close above this fair value gap, I probably will add to my position. Eval, folks, this is an eval account, because it still could run the other way. You bet, Kane. Look at where the 15-minute closed. Isn't that interesting? Honestly, we could get a bit of a push lower. It wouldn't surprise me, but we're in the trade. We're in the analysis. A close of this fair value gap would be a nice long to this wick high. If we don't get it, then don't take that inversion long. I took it early off of this breaker right here. I'll put a hard stop here. If it closes below this order block, I'm out, but I'm just gonna have a hard stop. Want to be careful that price action may start getting crappy. We've overlapped several times here. So I'm potentially anticipating price action becoming a little sloppy. It's not moving like I wanted it initially. So I think what I'm going to do, if we get back up to break even, I'm going to move my stop to break even because we may consolidate and I may just wait for this break of the first fair value gap here. Just see if we can get out here. All right, so I'm going to get out there. It's not doing what I want, and it's consolidating. I don't want to sit in consolidation. I really do like the move higher here. So we're going to wait for this first fair value gap to be broken. And that would be a nice play to the new day opening gap and these relatively equal highs sitting right here. But until then, we're going to just sit on our hands. Woodward, how you doing, my friend? First time seeing your name on here. Glad to have you here this morning. Thanks for joining me. There's the move right here. A sweep of this, all this consolidation. Now, at this point, I want to see it expand right here. Okay, no trade, just wanting to see an expansion. Why? Because this wick right here came into an imbalance and ran all of this these equal lows right here. Basically, it displaced lower. Accumulation, manipulation, distribution. That's kind of what I'm looking at. So I would want to, at this point, see a move higher. If we don't, we don't. But this is how we get better at reading order flow. Is we watch price action, we see things happen, and we make try to predict what's going to happen next based on what we're seeing with the candles. Caddy Pan, how you doing? Glad to have you. Yeah, I mean, we absolutely could get another leg lower. If we were to get another leg lower, I'm looking for a rebalance on the weekly previous high. But I'm going on the narrative that this sell side liquidity, which is the current day's low, is not going to be tagged. I'm seeing this as engineered liquidity for later for FOMC if that's what it wants to do. So I'm expecting in the next candle or two that we should be moving above this first fair value gap. Okay, so take note of this, folks. This is exactly what I'm talking about. This happens all the time. It's a signature in price that I see happen often. It's things like this that tells me now's the time to get in based on this breaker. I was in this breaker way earlier. I got out and I was like, I don't like this consolidation. We could manipulate lower first and then go higher. We did that and look at the expansion. It's exactly what I'm talking about. I love when it happens. It builds my confidence that I'm reading order flow. So now that we're here, I want to see a retag of the previous of this first fair value gap, and then I'll take the long before it hits this high. If it hits this high here, if it just expands right now, I'm not going to take it. I want it to come back and tag this level first, and then I'll take it. That's my preferred entry. I'll set a limit order there. That's where I'd want it to go. Doesn't look like we're going to get it. If you want to be if you want, you could put it right at the midpoint of that gap. That's an option. Well, we'll do that. See if it wants to reach down into there. Or ICT talks about putting it right at this candle's low because it could expand higher from right here. We call that an institutional order flow entry drill. It wicks into this fair value gap barely, and then it expands higher. All right, J Money. Congrats. I'm glad it has, my man. I'm glad it has. So I just told you 3 different areas we could set this limit order. At the high, which would be where we wanted it to tap, at the midpoint of the fair value gap, and right at this wick. Right at the high of the fair value gap. Those are your 3 options. You do it based on your risk level, your risk tolerance. So in this case, I'm just going to do it right at the midpoint of this fair value gap. And we're going to see if that is enough to launch us higher. Looking at these relatively equal highs sitting right here and potentially getting up into the new day opening gap. Wouldn't that be cool if it wicked my entry and then moved higher? That would be freaking sweet. We got 2 minutes till 9 o'clock, so we should see, my guess is some type of an expansion right here shortly. So you could take profit right there if you want to go for 10 handles. It's not a bad idea to take profit on something like that. On days where we do have FOMC and there's a lot of unpredictability here. A lot of uncertainty, I should say. But we're going to see this play out. We're looking at to run this. I would like the new day opening gaps. Right at these highs. That's where I'm going to run this. And we'll see if we can get that. Now that we've ran that high, you want to set your stop to break even. Because it could reverse after it grabs that high, an internal high. And look at that, folks. It's uncertainty. This is why we do it. There's 20 handles right there. After this, I want to see a push. We do need a full body, 100%, Ted. That's not good right there. I'm going to go ahead and close it. I'm not going to let that stop me out at break even. I'm not liking these wicks. We should have expanded. But the point that I was trying to articulate is still the same. Take your entry based on the risk that you want and have designated areas of profit taking. So I mentioned 10 handles is one that I like to do, and 20 handles was the next one that I like to do. Okay, both of those can be areas of profit, even if you don't hit your actual target. Your target doesn't have to be hit to be profitable. You can say, I'm going to take 10 handles and I'm going to get out. And that's doable, right? Let's see if we can push right here. I'm going to just sell this on this push, hopefully. It's not going to give me the push. Isn't that crazy? What is up with that? I think it's probably going to go a little bit lower. I don't know why you do that 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. Again, this is an eval account, folks. So I'm a little more loose with it. I want to see if it wants to still come back up to this level. We have this order block here. Or this is the first fair value gap that we originally wanted it to tap into. Should I have taken this trade? Absolutely not. Should I have taken that wanting to see if it would go up there? No. Absolutely not. We're going to see if we can get back to break even here. Get out right there. Now, what you just saw me do was called averaging down to get out at break even. Do not do this on a funded account, please. Do not do what I just did on my eval account on a funded account. You will blow your account because many times it won't come back up to the break even and it will just run lower and you'll get smacked in the face. Please do not do that. Please do not do that. Or people will hold it and say, oh, I'm in 3 contracts. It's above my break-even point. What if it goes higher? And then it drops. And then you have an even bigger loss. So we're just going to sit and wait. Another example of a run lower, grabbing liquidity, tagging this, and now an expansion. So I would expect this is probably going to be, this is going to follow through. Why not? Ran the high there, sold when we ran that high. We tagged the new day opening gap low. There's the high that I was watching, was this candle right here at 9:30. We'll see how it wants to react now. If you appreciate the commentary, guys, hit the like button for me, please. I greatly appreciate it. We should be able to get up to 20. Let's hit 20 likes. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. Kane finally hit 20 handles for me. Had to leave my stop open. Didn't move to break even. Sometimes it's okay to do that. It's kind of one of those subjective things you got to do, Kane. You kind of watch price. You feel price. If you feel confident in a move or not. And then if you don't, you just kind of keep it at break even. Like, I know there's trades that I'm like, nope, I'm moving to break even because I don't trust this. And then it works in my favor. And I'm like, thank you, Jesus. There's other days that, I wish I moved my stop to break even. There's other days I wish I didn't move my stop to break even. John G. New here. Been trading IFVGs, but love the level of education you provide. Thank you so much. John, you're welcome, my friend. Thanks for joining. I'm glad you're here. Eva, good morning. How are you? Glad to have you. All right, so the level I really wanted to see was this breaker. I wanted to see how we react around this breaker. Now, here's what I expect. I'm going to actually take a test trade on this. This is only for an eval only type of trade where I'm going to see us hit this level and see if we reject from it, giving us 10 handles. That's the type of trade that I'm going to look at taking. See if it can give us 10. Wow, that's a lot. I might let it run through it first and see how we react. But typically what I've seen on breakers is when you have a breaker, here's a high, low, higher high. You can see it, high, low, higher high on the 5 minute, on the 1 hour. Let's drop to the 15 minute here. High, low, higher high. Is that on the first approach, you tend to get some type of reaction from breakers. So I've been watching them for some time, and it's not on every breaker either. And there are times it goes right through it. So it's not a guaranteed fact, but it's something that I've been watching, and I've seen some nice reactions from those, from certain levels. And I think I'm going to try it on this one. Thanks for the likes, guys. I appreciate it. It just tells the algorithm that you guys are enjoying it and sends it out to more people. And as you can tell, I mean, I'm sure we could put a lot more on this stream. We got 44. I see people with hundreds of people on stream. So midpoint of the OB. So who was able to participate in that crazy move yesterday? So I got off stream, and about 15 minutes later, the most insane bullish move I've ever seen, 80 handles in 5 minutes. Without news. I did take it on one. I did not copy trade it. I took it on one of my funded accounts, and it was really nice. I left all the other accounts alone. But I ended up taking this trade right here. This candle was moving lower right here, wicked below this low, and in a matter of like a second, it completely retraced and closed green. And I got in right there. And then I sold here. And that was a total of 43 handles. So got like 43 handles in 3 minutes. It was insane. The hourly has tapped into the fair value gap here. It's a large fair value gap, though. But look at this 4 hour. This is key. This is very important for us to see. This is why I'm watching this. Look where that 4 hour, look where the breaker is on the 4 hour time frame. Okay? 4 hour time frame, we have a big wick, big candle, 4 hour candle. It's a displacing candle. What does this candle not do? It does not run this sell side. Does not run this low. It leaves it and then retraces. Then this candle, we want to see an immediate rebalance on the 4 hour. If we hit this breaker on the 4 hour and stay relatively around it, there is a possibility that price could run this low. That's my opinion. On the 4-hour time frame, this is perfect for a 4-hour type move. I think there's a trader out there, I forget his name, Trader Mike, I think. He calls it candle confirmation. It's all the same thing. He just put a name to it, which I'm glad he did because it's easier to teach when people put names to it. But this is like a this is a 4-hour candle confirmation. Big displacement, sell side right here. Doesn't grab it. Next 4-hour candle comes up. We want it to rebalance to this candle's low right here, or the opening price. And then we want to see within that 4-hour displacement start to take place to the downside, and you take that move to the downside. So interesting that we're seeing this here on the 4-hour. I think it's a very legitimate setup. It goes against the idea that my idea that the sell side right here is not going to be ran the current day's low. But like I said, I could be wrong. That's just what I kind of want to see. Good morning, Alkai. So we're going to keep an eye on that breaker 100%. 15-minute time frame. We have a 15-minute fair value gap right here. Look what that 15-minute fair value gap overlaps with perfectly. Overlaps with those equal lows. That's a overlapping confluence. So a fair value gap with a breaker, that's exactly in the middle. I like the way that looks. It's just visually appealing. And when you see that, it's just like, okay, maybe we do see lower prices. That's kind of how I treat that. Here's the 5-minute time frame. I could absolutely see price not stop at the midpoint, but kind of get up into this 5-minute fair value gap because there's some liquidity here. Excuse me. But I also could see price just want to run through all these because these are also relatively equal highs. Do you see what I'm saying? So there's multiple things, multiple areas or draws on liquidity. Our goal as traders is to identify which one is the most obvious and which one is more likely to take place. Well, this one's newer. This one's older. Not very much. We've had big displacing candles lower on the 4-hour. So if I had to pick between do we go to this high or do we go to this low, I think I would pick the low. But we got to wait and see how price shakes out here. And it might not even happen until 2 o'clock, right? We got FOMC. That's a monkey on my screen. Little baby monkey. Maho, do I have that right? Maho, is that correct? I do. If you're still on here, give me a thumbs up on the chat. But I do pray every single morning. We open in prayer. And that is not 80% right now, so let's remove that. Martin. Okay, Martin. Welcome. First time I'm seeing your name. Glad you're here. Thanks for joining. You know, surprisingly, I get that question quite a bit if we pray before before we start trading. It was one thing that I wanted to do, and I started it probably three months ago. I just like, this is something that is important to me. Dedicating the trading day to the Lord. I think it's important to do that. It also centers our hearts to make sure that what we're doing is not just for greed or for selfish ambition, but to make sure that we're in line with the plan of God on our lives. I'll be putting out a new video here coming up soon. I decided I am making another trading course, and this is going to be an intro to trading course. So it's like so right now I have the Purpose Driven Trader Academy, which is a super in-depth understanding of ICT concepts and how to live the kingdom lifestyle. That's all inside. You can find the link DTJ Academy. You can find that. We will be doing a Christmas sale for Christmas. I'll be probably posting that tomorrow or on Friday, where I'll be giving some type of discount for people that would like to join the Discord and join the Purpose Driven Trader Academy. But I'm going to create another course that is like the preface to the Academy, and it's going to be completely free. It's to teach traders that have people that are coming into trading that have absolutely no idea what a candle is. What is this candle? What do these wicks mean? What is futures? What are stocks? How do you trade them? I don't even know what a broker is. What does a broker do? So I'm going to make another course. So I've been working on just an outline for that and going to start posting those. So they may not be as relevant to a more seasoned trader or a trader that has already trading inversions and fair value gaps and breakers. But it's going to be, if you have people that you know that are like, hey, I'm interested in this kind of stuff, but have no idea where to start, that's kind of what this is going to be about. It's going to be to help absolute beginners not feel extremely overwhelmed when they look at a chart. Because I remember clearly the first time I looked at a chart. I was like, so is it going to go up? That's literally what I said. Does this mean it's going to go up? And it was a line chart. It wasn't even candlesticks. It was a line chart. And I was looking at line charts and thinking that, oh, I think I know where this is going to go. No. That was years ago. So I want to give back to people that want to take a stab at this. It's extremely overwhelming, and if you don't have access to something that's very broken down, all these videos are going to be 5 to 8 minutes long. I'm trying to make it super, super easy to digest for people. So excited about that. We'll see what's to come with that for people in the future. So if you ever come across anybody, I'll start posting those. Hopefully the first one this week or early next week, and yeah, feel free to share it with your friends if people are wanting to know what you do. This literally, the first video is what is trading? That's the first video. What is trading? All right, so there's this. Look at that. We just touched that level right there. I want to test this out. I'm going to do a short and see if we can get 10 handles from 14. That would bring 4 right here. Let's see if we can get a 10 handle move from this. I'm telling you, when you can identify the level, it literally can do just what you saw there. And when things are working, man, things are working. Now my question is, should I have held that for all the way down to the lows? No, I won't do that. I'll wait for a breaker. We'll wait for some type of setup. So we got all this low resistance liquidity. We have our first fair value gap right here. We really need to see how we're going to react to the opening price. I never put opening price on here. Crazy. All right, there's 930 price. All right, I'm watching this fair value gap, this small 1 minute fair value gap right here. Close below this should signal at least a run for these levels down here. But this is the level that I'm really interested in, is how do we act around 930? This is a very important level to see if we find support and move higher, or if we're going to run through it and then find resistance to it again. Patrick, good morning, my friend. How you doing? Look at the tag. There's the close. I'm gonna try this. It's relatively cheap for us to take this inversion. A close above this fair value gap is when we close the trade. Our target is these lows, or in the 930 price right here. That's our target. Now we did run a little bit of liquidity right here, so we could run through it in this fair value gap to push higher. But we're treating this as a breaker. The idea is that higher time frame breaker, small inversion, we'll see if it wants to close. Lower. This is what I'm referring to. Five. Okay, it looks like it's gonna. Oh, nope, it stayed inside the fair value gap. but I don't like how it filled most of it in. I need to really see displacement right here in this candle if I'm going to stay in it. If this turns green, I'll get out. That's kind of my, you can't mess around with me. You got to go right now. So I'm not going to let it run higher for another 25 seconds and then close the trade, because this is where a close above this considers it failed. But if I close that close and we are going to turn green at that point, I'm not even going to let it go higher. Does that make sense? So that trade's going to fail. I just am front running it, expecting it's going to fail. And it did right there. Boom. What are we sitting at? I don't even know what we're sitting at. All right, so we're up about $1,000 on our eval account. Why does it keep doing that? There's equilibrium right there. So we're sitting in premium right now. Yeah, this is exactly what I'd want to see. I'd want to see it to start rolling over here. That's where I'd want to see it. I would love for this 4 hour to work out. We got 3 hours and 30 minutes left though. Now that idea is, I call it the first exposure. I won't do it on the second time. It works on the second time sometimes, but I don't do it on the second time. It's always the first time. About 15 more minutes before the next macro. Come on. Here's a 4-minute fair value gap. It's the only single fair value gap that we have. 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute, all have 2 fair value gaps in here, so we can't use those. Be honest, I'll probably just use the 1 minute that and have it close below the 1 minute. Yeah, I think that's what I want to do. Okay, look at all the bodies of the 15-minute candles, all staying above this fair value gap. I need some music. I need some music now. What the heck? There's nothing that we can do inside this, guys. We took our first opportunity here on this fair value gap, and it failed. Since it failed, it's saying stay out. And you can see this overlapping price action now. So I'm not interested in anything right now. We're not going to do anything. We're just going to sit. Kane, you have to. It's a one-time fee of $150. They charge a one-time fee of $150. Yes, that's right. Yeah, so it looks like here, I'll show you. So here's the platform. It's just this small little box. That's what it looks like. So it's called Ninja Trader though. And what you'll do is you'll go to New and you'll select Apex Copier, and then it should pop up. Where is it? I don't know if you can see that. So then you have these two screens. These two screens are what works together. That work together to do everything. You make sure it's all connected here. You select the ones that you want to trade with. You select on. You select the primary, the leader account. So this account is the leader account. You select the instrument. And so then when you trade on TradingView, it copies to all of these accounts. You can also double it. You can make, if you're trading minis, you can switch it on, and now this account will trade micros. This account can trade micros. Well, technically, since this account says MNQ, so I'm trading micros. So if I hit on, it's going to trade mini accounts. So now this account would trade a mini account while I'm trading on this account micros. So it allows you a bunch of different features to be able to do that. It's pretty convenient. But this is what it looks like. Apex copier, it's 10.7.1. That's the version. Five minutes till macro time. I'll be right back. I'm going to grab myself an apple. Sorry if that's really loud. I bet you it was loud. Sorry. I might have to mute myself a couple times. Take care, man. We'll see you tomorrow, Ted. Honestly, if it's day to head out, today would be that day. We got FOMC. I'm not expecting anything crazy, to be honest. So we wicked up into that 5 minute. That's what I thought we would do. Look how we filled it out perfectly. Okay, not quite perfectly, but pretty perfectly. One tick. You bet, Ted. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for joining. We'll see you later. You got to do what you got to do, Ted. Got to do what you got to do. So here's the thing. We may, with 2 p.m. about 3 hours away, we may do some chippy choppy, slowly grind higher. But I mean, it makes sense. There's so many different options that we could go. We have a 4-hour option to the sell side. We obviously are not getting this breaker. So that breaker idea to the low is gone. That 4-hour retracement potentially could still be in the cards if we find resistance here. We'll see how price wants to find resistance there. If that's the case, if we start going through it, that whole idea of lower price on the 4-hour is gone, and I think we may hit these equal highs. It's already potentially telling us that that's the case. Yeah, there's some pretty good displacement here. We'll see how it reacts right here. So as far as a move higher, I don't see opportunities right now to go higher. I don't want to be trading in this. I already said that. We didn't have any type of retracement to signal that we were going to explode higher like we did here. Remember how I mentioned right here that this wick lower is a signal to tell us that price is going higher. Where did we get that signal here? We didn't. I mean, we really didn't get a signal that said, all right, pay attention. You might have an opportunity to go long. We didn't get that. So that's why we missed this move. If I would have seen this, I would have been telling you guys, guys, we're going long. But we didn't get that. We didn't get any sweep of liquidity that was obvious enough or hit a level that was obvious enough for me to say, oh yeah, this means we're going higher. We go to here, which the only thing that's there is equilibrium, but we were equilibrium of this entire range from low to high on our left, but we've gone through it multiple times. So no opportunity to be able to take this long, and that's something you just got to be okay with. Okay with that you're going to miss some of these moves, and there'll be others later. So now what we're looking for is you have two options. If you think we're aggressively running for these highs, which I'm not convinced of that, but if you are, you can take your fair value gap. We're in the 10 to 11 time frame where you can take a fair value gap and use it as the silver bullet, ICT silver bullet. So you could have put it in this fair value gap, or you could have been waiting for it to wick down into this fair value gap and go long. The second option, here's another fair value gap right here. The second option is you can go long off of these order blocks, right? As soon as price comes and retraces to one of these order blocks, whether it's the high or the opening price, you want to use that as your entry points. And if we close below the order block, that's when you close the trade. So here would be an example. I'll use that as an example. I'm okay with going long from here, right here. Okay. So we just went long based on this fair value gap and this overlapping order block. So now where would we place our stop? Well, I would put my stop here. I would put my stop right beneath the body of this order block. Okay. When would I want to move my stop to break even? That's subjective on this style of trading. Some people would move it to, I would move it to my stop to break even as soon as we grab the high. Or you could do it you could just leave it where it's at until it makes a new low. You could put it at this low right here because we just have another order block right now, right? I'm looking left on where we could, I'm just going to take, see if we can hit right here. But we could get a retracement. This was a nice big expansion. There's a better chance of us probably being stopped out. This is the risk of taking trades like these, is you don't know when it's going to pull back or what order block it's going to pull back to. You just got to kind of take a stab at it. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of what this is an example of that. And we ran right through that stop. Okay? That's the risk of taking some of these trades when you feel like you're missing out. And that's kind of why I don't do it unless I have a clear draw on liquidity. I don't have a clear draw on liquidity. Yes, these are obvious, but I'm not sure it wants to get up there specifically because there's news at 2 o'clock. That's why. So in my view, it's safer for me to sit on my hands. Mark, 5 minute. I was looking at the 5 minute order block at 22,312 on MNQ. It made a dead stop and reversed down 20 points. Let's see. I'm not on MNQ here. Let me go to MNQ. M 22,312. What was the time of that candle, Mark? That's what I need to know. What time was the 5-minute candle at? Hi, Skylar. How you doing? Okay. All right, Mark, let's talk about this real quick. This right here, I would call it more of a breaker than an order block. An order block is the last down close candle before a large move higher. This 930 candle on the 5-minute would be that order block. This has a low, high, lower, low, and moves lower for, you can consider this a breaker. So I would not use this. I would never call this an order block. Now, if we go up to the 15-minute time frame, what order block do we have? Well, we have this small one right here, but on a higher time frame, we have this one right here. This whole thing would be an order block on the higher time frame. But we drop down to the 5-minute. This is separated by 2 green candles, so we can't use these. This would be our full order block right here if we were to use the series of candles. But I really like this one candle, so I would use this candle. Okay? I hope that makes sense. All right, now this is where we could see a bounce. I'm not going to take it. But if we're going to see a bounce off this 5-minute, off this wick right here, and next to this order block right here. And look at the expansion. Now here's an opportunity that we potentially could take right here. This inversion to the upside. And we potentially could take that. I kind of like this. It could fail, but I'm on an eval account. I might take it. And this also could act as a breaker too. Not right now. It's not 90% off. They probably are going to do some type of discount here soon. It's right now 50% off. But here's the thing, Polk, is that the code DTJ will always give you the most updated discount that they're offering. So if they change it from 50 to 80 or 80 to 90, DTJ, the code DTJ will always give you that updated, the most updated amount or discount. All right, I like the volatility we're seeing. I'm going to take either this short or this long. Okay, TP grabbed, holding one remainder. Stop should be moved to break even. If I'm being honest, I'm a little hesitant to want to move mine stop to break even because I think we could actually go all the way to the lows down here. And if that's the case, I don't want to get wicked out before we start displacing. So I think I'm willing to take a little bit of a loss. I'll put my stop loss here, above this fair value gap. But normally I would have, my stop would be at break even 100% on a funded account. So I would be stopped out right there. But I'm giving it this little bit, this fair value gap, in case it wants to just reach into there before it falls lower. And if it wants to go above the fair value gap, well, then that's where I have my stop, because if it's going above the fair value gap, it means it might be going the other direction. Right above the... Oh, nope, got tagged. I didn't move it in time. Son of a gun. I was going to put it right above the fair value gap because I'm like, this fair value gap makes more sense. Oh, don't fall. I'm chasing. I shouldn't be doing this. I'm going to get out. I shouldn't be doing this. I don't want to lead by bad examples. What am I at? Yeah. Slap in the face. 10 o'clock. Let's see. Winner Circle Trader. Hey, props to you, man, for sharing it on chat. That takes balls to do, and I think when you get, it's just like, here's my opinion. I'm gonna get spiritual for 10 seconds here. It's like sin. When you keep sin hidden and you don't tell anybody about it, it grows, it festers, it gets larger, it doesn't go away, even though you say you're never going to do it again. That's what sin does. It lingers. It tries to destroy you. When you have a losing trade and you kind of just, brush it off, that can still linger and sit there and it can destroy you. When you actually verbalize losses, when you verbalize the mistakes you made, and you even do it on a public forum, the power in that is like you stepping from the darkness into the light, to where now you have a greater chance of success of overcoming that struggle than if you were to just keep it secret or just, brush it off as nothing. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's big of you to do that, my friend. Last eval trade, probably. Since we didn't go lower, we're showing price wants to move higher. We have this fair value gap here. I'll close it if we close below the fair value gap. But this is a B plus setup. It's not an A plus setup, folks. This is an eval trade type only that I'm willing to take. Because we are still running into that breaker there. It honestly makes more sense for price to go lower. I'm going to get out. I'm finding myself clicking buttons. When you find yourself doing that, that's a good time to walk away. I think I'm hitting my limit here. Last thing I'll say, winner circle trader, is be careful on the words you use that you talk about yourself. Okay? Be careful and make sure that the words you're saying over yourself are positive. Saying, I got this. That's not who I am. I don't trade like that. I'm not going to keep trading like that. I am a multi-million-dollar day trader. I'm a funded trader. I don't do that kind of stuff. Instead of saying, I don't know if you say this or not, but just for lesson, instead of saying, oh, that was so stupid. Man, I just suck. I can't figure this out. Or you're even saying that in your head, or you're thinking those thoughts. Do not entertain them. Do not entertain them. Avoid them at all cost. Is it a mitigation block on the sell side of the curve? Tony, I don't know what that I'm assuming I was talking about order blocks at that point. Oh, is it a mitigation over here? The only mitigation block I see is right here. Low, high, lower, low. Or high, low, lower, high, break lower, mitigation block right there. And we haven't reached up into it yet. I was willing to take this long. If we get through this, I'll still consider that as a long. MG Graham, thank you, bro. I would say not every person listening here is probably at the depth of that I like to go. I'm not saying that I'm super spiritual. I'm just saying some of the things or concepts may not necessarily turn people off, and I don't care if it does or not, but I want to invite people in to ask questions, invite people in to want to know more about it, because my whole life revolves around the kingdom of heaven. It revolves around the principles that are in the Bible, and I've seen them work in my life all the time. So much in my life. Didn't quite create that breaker yet. Yeah, I got it, Tony. That 5 minute, I don't know if I would call that a mitigation either. I know that this is a breaker. This is just a continuation of this move. It's in the middle of the range, so I don't know if I would call that, though. I mean, you could call it a breaker, but I wouldn't even want to call it a breaker. The only thing I'm really interested in is wanting to see price stay above these equal lows. If price stays above these equal lows, we'll see higher prices. But if we go below and then come up to them and reject it, we'll see lower prices. But honestly, if you think about it, we're inside the range. Look from high to low. We are sitting in premium right now. We could hang out anywhere around here. And we could be here for the remainder till 2 o'clock. No, the rejection block is, here's a rejection block, okay? I'll show you. It's not going to let me do it, so I'm going to have to do this. All right, so if we have a candle like this, okay? If we have a candle like this, and we see price, this body, this is a rejection block right here. That area of price action right here is a rejection block. The body went into the wick, but the wick didn't run the low. When price comes into the wick portion of a down close or up close candle, this is a rejection block. You can count this as a grab of liquidity because the body went lower than these bodies. This is why I count breakers with just the bodies. Okay, let me give you an example. I would call this a breaker right here, right? High or low, high, lower low. I can use the bodies as my breaker if the wicks aren't forming the way I want them to form. So the rejection area is just the wick of the lowest closed body candle with the wick. So you could even count this one right here. But we're on the 5 minute. So if we were to go down to like the 1 minute here. So this would be a rejection block right here. This candle right here. All this could have been rejection, and we could have seen it roll the other way because we were in the area for a rejection block. But eventually we ran the high, and that changed it. Shoot, I missed that. This was the other short I was willing to take right here. And it played out beautifully. Got all this low resistance liquidity right here. Down to this first fair value gap. You got the 930 candle right here. We could see a reaction here. I want to see it get down to this low right here. But based on all this reaction, remember that 4-hour candle? Here's that 4-hour candle. We potentially could run all the way down here. I just have a really hard time with that, with there being FOMC. I think what I'm going to do is I'm half tempted to close the trade. Not on ES. I did on NQ on the way down. There we go. That's what I wanted to see. I'm going to take profit there. All right, that puts us at 1100 on the day for our eval account. To be honest, this looks so good to take a funded account trade. But I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. This turned into a fantastic trade very quickly. Here I'm thinking, oh, we're going to wait. Oh, I'll look at this for a short. Then boom. And it aggressively runs. This is the 4-hour trade right here, though. I'm not as versed in these 4-hour retracement tags to see price run this, because we could just run that low. Man, I think we are. I really want to just take a stab at it, but you have to wait for a retracement. I mean, I'm not gonna take a short right there because it's just gonna retrace. You have a better shot of going long on these. I'm gonna close down my my accounts. You saw it. We just closed below this fair value gap. I think with that, we should run for these lows down here. These lows right here. That low, and then we got this low right here. That 4-minute closed. Yeah, I think this could just roll over right here. That's what I want to see. What would that be here? Be a pretty large move. Got this order block here and this order block here that we're watching. Also this level here to see if we're going to continue to displace through that. I kind of want it to go lower, but I don't think it is. Don't think it is. Yeah, it looks like it wants to expand back up through this. could see expansion through this level. What level is this here? That's our low. Those are our equal lows. That's our breaker. I'm waiting to see if we want to get through this level to run towards these equal highs. I think we're probably going to call it a day here shortly, folks. See if it wants to do this or not. No close. Did not close again. That stinks. $37. Yeah, we might get some consolidation around this area. Okay, there's our official close. Let's see if we get an expansion here. I would want this to run right here. That's what I'm looking at. Close would be right there. %90 Apex. I don't think it's 90% right now. I think it's 50 right now. I checked this morning. You know, the more I'm looking at this, the more I think we're probably not going to hit this high, not because of this candle, but because I think we might be running to these lows down here, and it could find this as a turning point. We'll see. Either way, guys, I think I'm going to be done. I don't want to sit here. I don't want to sit here anymore. So we're going to call it a day. We'll be back tomorrow. For those of you joining, thank you for being here. I really appreciate you hanging out with me. Have a blessed day. Stay safe. And we will see you all tomorrow. God bless you guys.